It was 6 years ago when the audition of a young French singer for the talent show The Voice went viral. Apart from the high standards of Mennel Ibtissem's performance singing a bilingual version of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, her turban or hijab caused a lot of noise. It got to the point where Menel decided to quit the show by writing and publishing another song called Je pars mais je t'aime. Three years later, and following changes in her private life, she published another music video, Poison in the Air. Poison in the air, too proud to let him go. I thought I wouldn't care, but now I just don't really know. Again, regardless of music, it was Mennel's appearance that became controversial. This was her first video in which she was not wearing hijab. So, in a short period of time, Mennel had come under attack twice, once for wearing hijab and the second time for removing it. These experiences made Mennel think not only about herself, but about the problems and limitations of all women across the world. We met Mennel in her little town of Besançon in northeast of France. So, Mennel, you as a French singer come from a family with an interestingly diverse background. Could you please tell us more about it?
Well, that's a very, very colored family. So basically, my dad came from Syria to France. And my mom, she was born in Algeria, and she came to France, which was 8. So my parents, they met in France, in Paris, and all us 5 girls, we were born in France, in this city in Besançon. And I grew up with my sisters and with a I would say Arabic Muslim culture. So since I was young, I was used to have this Muslim atmosphere at home, with going to the mosque and praying, fasting, you know, all the rituals we have in the religion and in the culture. And yeah, so I have this I had this peaceful childhood, I would say, with my family. In this little town.
Yeah. So that was my second question, actually. So why Besançon? What brought your family to this city?
Well, Besançon, we always made fun of my parents' decisions, but I guess it's just because there was not so many Syrians at the time. So because my dad is a Syrian, he wanted to be with people who can speak the same language. And there was some Syrians in this town, in Besançon, so he stayed there with my mom, and they got the kids.
So when was the first time that you basically realized or find out about your passion for music?
Music is, I would say, directly connected to my emotions. I was a kid with a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings regarding the world and myself and people. So anytime I wanted to express myself, I was not used to go and talk to people. I was just simply directing myself to my piano, because I had a little piano like this. It was like a toy, and I would just press on the note and see which sound it makes. And so piece by piece, I started learning by myself the piano, how it works, and how I can, if I have a melody in my head, transpose it in the piano. I started at the age of 6 years old, and then it kept going till I was till now, till today. But the most important thing is that I taught myself how to play the piano. So it was very a discovery between me and the piano, like a best friend.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned that you grew up through the Islamic family and rituals and everything. So how was and you said that you're just 5 girls.
Yeah, 5 girls.
5 girls.
No boys.
Yeah. So how was the environment in at home when you as a girl, as a Muslim girl, would like to play music?
Well, yeah, that's 2 things important. The fact that I'm a girl and the fact that I want to play music. First, to be a girl in a family of 5 girls was always, especially my mom, she was always telling us that the world outside is a bit dangerous, that we need to be careful with men. There was this, I would say, obsession with men, and that they can be dangerous and they can do some things that will traumatize you. So for me, growing up was a bit of searching for my identity as a woman. Like where are the boundaries? What can I do? What will make me feel safe or not? And then when the music came into my life, it's the music industry is related to boys also, to girls and boys, but there are men in this industry, and so the challenge for me was to prove to my family that I can be a girl and a singer in this world, but this didn't work because my family was not supporting me because of first the religious aspect of it, that the voice of a woman is a bit attractive, and that this industry of music is not very healthy. And the second challenge, the second objection of my parents and family was that yes, it's a world full of they had this image of drug or of illegal things that people would make me do, or that I would do if I get into some weird business. But they never took into consideration how I felt about music. Like, regardless of this, regardless of the religious aspect, regardless of the society aspect, no one asked me, okay, but why do you sing? Like, why all this? What is it linked to your identity? Is it linked to something? And for me, that was the core, the center of the attention that I didn't have.
But then we have to go to 6 years ago when you were for the audition for The Voice, and it was, I think, a turning point for you, because suddenly the whole world, get to know you as a singer over there. So how did it happen, at that time, considering all of these limitations and hurdles?
Before 2018, before I went on The Voice, I was in my room playing the piano and singing in a very quiet state of mind. I was playing in my room for myself, recording some videos, putting on YouTube, but nothing very big. And especially because I didn't think I could be big or I could be interesting to the world. I just thought that this is interesting for me, and that's it. And my family is not even interested in it. So why would the world be interested in it? And then I did the show, and this is the turning point. I had a journalist, he told me, I remember at The Voice, he said, do you want to make it your full-time job? And that question never occurred in my mind. I never thought I would make music my passion, my source of joy, a full-time job. I thought this would just stay as a hobby and something secret. From there, I started to think about it, and yeah, why not? So I collaborated with a manager, producer, people in the industry to just help myself do some projects. But that was also the beginning of other challenges and problems, and especially that my family did not agree. at first when I did the show, when it was broadcasted on TV, I remember my neighbor my neighbor came at home to congratulate, to say, "Hi, we saw your girl on TV. That's great." My mom, she answered she answered at the entrance the phone, and she said, "No, we're not proud of it. Just forget." And I was so shocked, like, why you said that to him? He just wanted to say congratulations. So I would say till now, my parents, they don't feel very proud that I became a singer, not because of what I do, but because they did not think that this would be the good way for a woman to succeed in life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like that. It's not only for me, that's for many, many girls in this world. As soon as we try to take a certain path of artistic direction, what other people, if they don't have this soul of artist, what they consider is mostly some material stuff and not the deep intentions of why an artist is doing what he does.
So that was really interesting, talking about that your family didn't approve your audition over there, even when it was broadcasted on the TV. But at the same time, something maybe even bigger happened, which was basically, although your bilingual audition of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah was, fascinating, and I think up to now, so far, it's been watched over 50 million times on YouTube. But at the same time, I think something shocking happened to you, because probably you found out that your appearance, your hijab or turban has turned into a talking point. So some people were supportive, some people were, not that much supportive. So how did that feel?
Well, I was wearing the hijab for myself when I showed myself on the Voice, and I was not really aware of the impact, because I thought, okay, if in my everyday life I have some little comments, I have some, it's not something that is very a problem, so on TV should be the same. No, it's not the same, because it was millions of people who saw me. So obviously, but I didn't know, the reactions were multiplied by billions, and I would say I experienced a wave of love for my performance, but also a wave of hate from people who could just simply not understand why a girl would appear on TV with something on her head, especially if it means that she's religious or that she believes in something. So starting from this, I didn't know what to do. For me, it was not related to music. There was music and there was my appearance. And these two things were not related in my brain. Mm-hmm. But for people it was. So for 3 years, I was wearing the hijab and singing. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed is that anything I would do would be maybe related to religious things or community or event. Mm-hmm. And even the interviews, they would be related to this, to my appearance first, before my voice. And that was annoying, honestly, because I simply wanted to talk about music, but not about how I look like, it's not important. And then in 2020, I removed the hijab for personal reasons that had nothing to do, again, with music. But again, people, media, just put the two together and thought that because for 3 years I was challenged with this hijab, that I gave up and that I just decided to remove it to have less pressure.
Yeah. So we're going to reach that. So I would like to go back to that time. So first, a short question. So you mentioned that hatred wave
Yeah.
which came. So was it just from the, for example, you know, the people who were seeing you as a symbol of Islamism, or was it even from the Muslim community as well?
I had hatred in so when I participated to The Voice, I had hatred in two directions. The first one was the non-Muslim, very extreme people from the right parties in France, who couldn't even stand to see someone that is Muslim or with Arabic origins on TV. So that was one of the direction of hate. And the other one was the Muslim community who, on the opposite, because they were proud of their hijab, because they were proud of their religion, couldn't stand to see a Muslim on TV. So they had the same hate, but oriented in a different way. So I had to justify myself with the Muslim community first to say, well, I believe we can sing and we can be Muslim, I think. Or even if I'm not Muslim, which is my concern, I believe I can be a singer and wear whatever I want on my head. And on the other part, I had to say, well, I'm French, and I think I am free to just sing and share my passion for music, regardless of my faith. So I felt in between two, I don't know how you say in English, but I felt trapped. Yeah. And then, well, my place was nowhere. But there was a little minority, again, also of Muslim who enjoyed and very appreciated what I did, and they were proud. So they were proud of seeing a Muslim woman on TV singing and representing them. Yeah. But again, that's not what that was not my purpose. I was not on TV to represent a community. So at the end, I thought no one here knows why I came on The Voice. No, I didn't come for protesting that, hey, I'm religious. No, I didn't come for representing a religion. So I just want to say, you know why I came on this TV show? For myself. For me, as Mennel, as a little girl who sings in her room and wants to just share her passion. But no one wanted to hear that. So 3 years after, in 2020, I decided that I wanted to be myself, regardless, without any label. So without any religious label, society, origin, culture, whatever it is. I just wanted to be recognized and accepted for who I was. And that was related to spiritual transformation, to a personal, inner, deep personal development. And I felt that I didn't need to wear anything on my head anymore.
I think the pressure was so much, it was so high that at some point you thought that it would be necessary to come and comment. And then at that time you said, okay, the hijab, the turban is my signature or part of my look. But apparently it was still not enough, so je pars, mais je t'aime. So what happened that time? What made you quit the audition?
Well, I remember I quit the show, the TV show, because I felt that people were talking about me, but it was not me. They were talking about a girl, and this girl was having some ideas that were not mine. So I didn't feel respected by people, by the media, by my family. And so I thought, if I leave the show, maybe I will have a chance to just say, I disagree with all this. Just let me show you who I am. And I wrote the song Je pars mais je t'aime to express this feeling of the need that I had to leave something that truly I disagree with. I don't want to be part of this unfair treatment that people have on me regarding this hijab or the origins that I have. I just wanted to take some distance with all that.
You mentioned that 3 years on, you decided personally to remove your hijab. So I think the first time that the society found out about this was when you released the video clip of Poison in the Air, right? And again, I think that was another turning point for you.
Yeah. Well, when I released Poison in the Air, it was a song about a breakup, relational breakup, and that was also the first video clip I did with my hair appearing. And I remember the comments were very negative for some people, because they said, "Oh, she sold her soul," or she gave up on fighting. There was this idea that I needed to fight for who I was, especially because I'm Muslim. But this was also related that in France, Muslim community was fighting for their rights, for existing in the public area. We were facing many problems at that time. I didn't want to be this person who just say, I want to fight for a religion. No.
You didn't want to be a flag of Islam.
I didn't want it to be a flag of Islam. I just wanted to be a flag of myself, of my own thoughts, of my own feelings. So this video clip was the first step of showing who I was, artistically speaking. But also it was a good moment for me to see which people could not continue with me any longer. So I had many followers that just left. They just unfollowed my account. And some other people, new persons, came to follow me because they enjoyed my image or what I release or my message.
In between, during that 3 years' time, you had a both realistic and probably spiritual journey. And I think you moved to Portugal, right? And then
Yes, I was in Madeira.
Madeira, yeah. And over there, at some point, it looks like that you found out or realized your raison d'être.
Raison d'être, yeah, exactly. Everything came together in 2020. It was in February. COVID was starting, and I just I felt that this was the good moment for me to do a big change. I needed it in my whole existence. I was 25, and so I felt that some things were changing. I started to read different books about God, about spirituality, about inner peace, and I really wanted to go deeper in this. So I traveled to this beautiful island, Madeira, in Portugal, and at first I thought I would stay a week, but because of COVID, I was there for 3 months, and it was 3 months for me to disconnect from France and to have the time to think of a new album, of a new direction, and also of who I am, who I want to be, and who I'm not. I wanted to disconnect from all the things people thought of me that were not true, and express myself on who I think I am. So 3 months on the island, I started writing an album, and that's also the moment where I posted videos of myself without anything on my head. And because it was COVID time, people were on their phone a lot, and I received many comments, and many girls also who saw themselves in me, and we were chatting, exchanging our feelings. So that was a good moment for me to just nourish myself with other people's experiment of this renewal.
Around the time of quitting the audition, as we mentioned before, you had the comment that, okay, the hijab is part of my identity, or it's part of my appearance at least. And then, after Poison in the Air, you said that basically removing your hijab has been your bravest act. So this transformed in 3 years. How do you explain it?
I think I needed to discover myself deeper and deeply. So I guess for me, and I speak for myself, I am not a religious person. I'm more, I have my own conviction of life, of God, of the spiritual path I want to follow. And before 2020, I was in a sort of mechanic thinking of how to rule my life. Even though I was I really enjoyed philosophical books and you know, asking myself thousands of questions, but if there's one thing that changed my life, is because I understood that I was not happy. I was not happy the way I was. I was not me. I was not myself. There was something missing. And what was missing, that I discovered later on, is that my connection to God was not the way I wanted it to be. So because I'm a very spiritual person, I didn't want to be a religious one. And for me, the distinction is very important. To be religious for me is to be in the practice, to be very with rules, and to be spiritual is more of cultivating the connection, the relation between you and what you believe in. And because my music is related to my emotions and my personality, I felt that there was a disconnection between me, Mennel, my life as a person, as a human being, and my music. And I wanted to combine both and have a music career that fits with my inner peace, my soul. And this could not happen if I was blocked in this religious aspect, if that makes sense. And I needed to be free of anything that makes me feel trapped. And for me, again, I don't say it's for all girls, but for me, wearing the hijab was not making me feel free for many reasons. And so I just wanted to have a blank page in my life and start from zero and just put on this white page the things that will bring me happiness. And slowly, piece by piece, I've put some elements that I consider essential and go like a minimalist vision of life, and then adding things that I think are useful.
Basically, you've had it both ways. I mean, it's sad, but in some way interesting. So you comparing the experience of 6 years ago and 3 years ago, basically you came under attack once for wearing hijab, then the second time for removing it.
Yeah, it was the same battle.
Yeah.
The first time and the second time. First time I was wearing the hijab on TV, I was fighting for just saying, hey, just please hear me with who I am. And second time was also the same. People, I had problems with my identity the second time when I was not wearing the hijab, because again, people thought I was removing my identity and selling it to media. So in both cases, it was a battle.
So which one was harder, more difficult?
Honestly, I think the second one, it's not a matter of hardness, it's a matter of how I handle it. The first time, I couldn't handle it simply because I didn't even know what we were talking about. Like, which battle? What are we talking about? And second time, it was harder. But I knew what I was going through. Like, it's as if I was prepared for war, But the first time I didn't even know I was at war, and then I had to discover that people were attacking me. For what? I don't know. Second time I knew. I expected it. So I was prepared.
So you were expecting, you were kind of ready for it, but still it was harder.
It was harder, but I was so much more prepared and also so much more confident of what I believe in, because I knew that what I was doing was for me, was for my own happiness. So it didn't matter if people didn't agree. I simply didn't care. So harder, but stronger.
So let's come to closer to these days, actually a couple of days ago or something like that. The French Minister of National Education has announced that, okay, based on the laïcité law in France, from now on, from this school year, which is going to start this week, the Muslim girls are not allowed to wear abaya in the school. So you, as a person who had felt all aspects of this kind of limitations and pressure, how do you feel about this regulation?
Well, for me, freedom is the key of everything. And if we start forbidding people to wear what they want to wear, then freedom is not respected. Regardless of if we like it or not, if I wear it or I don't wear it, I believe we need to respect everyone's decision of how they want to dress and how they want to believe and express themselves and their beliefs, as long as they don't hurt anyone. And I don't see how a dress can annoy or can harm people. I think it's simply if someone is uncomfortable with a girl wearing l'abaya, I would say it's because this person has a problem with herself or himself, with tolerance. Because if we start telling girls they cannot wear a dress, then after, what will it be? It's a small thing, but then it becomes so much bigger. And I fully disagree with this.
How do you know about the situation of women in Iran in terms of hijab, singing, dancing?
Well, for what I know, it's a very complicated situation for women to just feel free again, a matter of freedom, and that they're not allowed. And I remember when I was a kid, we were hearing like this, in Iran, if you go on holidays, you will have to cover your head, like in Sardinia. And for me, it didn't make sense. Like, why would we impose on people to wear something if it's not justified? Because there's nothing that justifies someone to impose a way of dressing on someone else. And so up till now, it's still the same problem. And what I heard is that women simply want their freedom back. They just want to be free of choosing. But this protest was not welcomed, and just like that, they got killed or they got put in jail for saying out their opinion. So for me, this situation is clearly very sad. And as a singer, for me, who express my feelings and my opinions through music, I think removing freedom from women's heart is just killing it's just killing the peace in the country. And if there's no peace, then how can we expect people to be happy?
So the protest that you mentioned just now, basically, the latest wave of protests started last year, exactly the same time that we're talking, when a young girl, Mahsa Amini, was first detained and then died in the police custody just because the morality police didn't like her hijab. So this protest started, and the protesters have been using since then a interesting slogan: "Zan zandagi azadi," woman, life, liberty, freedom, or "Femme vie liberté."
Femme, vie, liberté.
How this slogan resonate to you? How does it feel?
Well, for me, it's a very important slogan. It's more than important. It's the core. It will, if we respect this slogan, femme, vie, liberté. For me, a society can only work if women are respected. But how is it possible then to have life and freedom if women, they just feel trapped all days, all the time, and for generations? That cannot work. So I think there's a huge battle to start for women, to just say, like, we just want to be respected, we just want to be considered for who we are, and considered and heard, especially heard when we want to say no and we want to say yes. Mm-hmm. And regarding the hijab, I think it's more than urgent to stop making women feel guilty if they don't wear it. Yeah. Or if they wear it, oh, they're the best. Like, it's a goal. It's something like, if you wear the hijab, you've reached a level of respect. Mm-hmm. And if you remove it, well, you will put it back one day. This is up to each person, considering what they believe hijab is or is not. But imposing our own choices on women is simply the opposite of freedom.
Go into a hypothetical situation. Mm-hmm. Just imagine that you are in Iran right now, yeah, as a singer. And although we know that Iranian women are not allowed to sing or dance publicly, and yeah, they have to wear hijab, but just imagine that you were posed with two options. Option one, mm-hmm, you can sing, but only if you wear your hijab. Mm-hmm. Or option two, you don't wear hijab and you cannot sing. Which one would you opt for?
Well, me, because I have a very strong personality, I would say no, I'm not singing if I cannot do it my way. Mm-hmm. Which is too bad for the people who wanted to hear me. Because I believe if I go and sing with a hijab, it means that I'm giving in to my own principles. And that's something that I would not do. If I consider that I'm free to sing like this, the way I am, then I don't want to lower myself to rules that I don't accept. Mm-hmm. So I would simply not sing. Mm-hmm. And say, I'll come back when you accept me, just like that.
How familiar are you with the Iranian music?
I love one song. I heard the song, it was, I think, last year. Yeah, last year. It was برای. Mm-hmm. And this music is beautiful. It starts with a beautiful piano, and then the lyrics. This song is honoring the women. Mm-hmm. Women in general, in all countries, all faith, all ethnic. And I felt connected to this song the first time I heard it. And I was proud that thanks to music, we can simply say that we disagree with what is happening, and that we're expecting something better, something new, mm-hmm, and that we artists don't stay insensitive to what is happening.
So actually, this song that you mentioned is about, the chorus of the music is, yeah, that's a slogan, برای زن زندگی آزادی.
برای زن زندگی آزادی. I pronounced it good.
Excellent, yeah. Yeah. And so, back to your music. Mm-hmm. When are we expecting your next album or singles? Are you working on it?
Now I'm working on a new album, which is all related to this story. Mm-hmm. It's an album called Heal, so healing from from trauma, from the 5 years that happened, from feeling not myself, from losing myself in a past that was not mine, artistically speaking, that I was not brave enough sometimes to say out loud what I was thinking. So now I'm working on this album Heal to encourage myself and other girls to simply be brave enough to find their ways through the process of healing and find at the end eventually peace.
Mm-hmm. And when it's going to be out?
It should be January 2024. That is if all goes good. But with music, it's often complicated to keep a date.
Mm-hmm. So is there any specific thing that you would like to mention apart from my questions?
I'm really taking a new direction, but a direction that I don't take this direction for people first. I take it for myself. And I believe that religion no longer has anything to do with my music. And it has never been, actually. Like I never wrote for religion or for representing religion. But I really wanted to make this clear for people because it's not because they saw me on The Voice with a hijab that I want to defend ideas. To me, it's deeper than that. I really want to defend a feeling, a direction of living, a state of mind. And the state of mind that I prone is just be in phase with who you are deep inside.
So, Mennel Ibtissem, thank you so much for your time and having us here in
Yeah, thank you so much.
Le sourire est glacé, souvent je mens. Ils disent que ça va passer, tout finit par s'effacer, lentement, sûrement. Tout ce que je